Okay, so as before, as the other chats, we also prepare some questions for you, and we also hope to get from the community. So make sure to send your questions that you have for Max. We also had some remaining questions from last AMA, which was on Wednesday.
The short one.
The short one that we have to go through. So yeah, let's just get started casually. My first question for you is, now that, let's say, we are almost migrated successfully, what are you the most proud of today?
So I'm definitely not proud of the technical issues we experienced so far. We're now using 3 different MacBooks to get this stream here up and running. I'm proud of, well, first of all, every team member being present here today with us, celebrating this moment, but also working on making the moment happen. But the most, of course, I am proud of just us delivering this update. So when Oliver joined as the community tools developer, Crypty back in the day, and me as a community manager, and then we created Lisk, no one thought we were going to deliver anything. Then we raised $5-6 million. Suddenly Bitcoin went to the moon. Suddenly we have over $100 million. But then our approach is very methodological. I'm not sure how to say that, methodologically or whatever, saying that we have a whole research process, and then the development process, and then QA process internally, an audit, and then a public QA process. And then we also always want to be as professional as possible in our communication, so the whole marketing process at the end. So this takes time to get it all right, but at the end, this is all necessary and ensures that whatever we deliver is of a high quality. Of course, such an event, this is now experimentation still, seeing how that works all. Crowdcast, I think, is also not the best for something like this, like where everyone is in the same location, but we're learning and adapting. And I think that's something I'm just very proud of, that we now, after all these concerns, and after all these doubters, delivered such a significant update. And I'm quickly going to check something. Okay. That's just a message from Crowdcast that we had 30 more minutes before the end, because they're supposed to only support 6-hour streams. Yeah, so I'm the most proud of us delivering innovation. So, like, it's 32 libs, 32 research papers of a technology which is pretty new still, and which combines so many different fields that it's one of the most complex technologies currently out there to work on. I just heard someone saying to me, and he is like a C-level executive in one of the top 100 companies of the world. He told me, Max, so I talked to my friends, they said, if you made a blockchain startup working, then you can make any startup you want to make. You will be able to do anything you wish to make happen or reality. So it's really complex, because you have these many different fields. Everything is so new somehow and so complex. This whole decentralized aspect also makes it not easier. So I really am proud of delivering innovation. And I think today we showed that. We migrated our blockchain to a new blockchain with so many feature changes and improvements no blockchain in production has ever seen before. I stand to these words. I doubt anyone did such a significant move where basically everything changed. So yeah, I'm super proud of that. And anyone who says we cannot do it, they can just go back to their mama's basement, because today we proved we can. And actually, this is it was a huge challenge. And the next challenges are much lower, in my opinion, than this one today, because it just introduced so many changes. And the next ones are just new features to the network, and then some adjustments, but that's not as hard as what we did today.
Yeah, I think definitely a lot to be proud of. And we also saw, I think, not only what we achieved over the years, but also the way we went over, or we surpassed all the challenges that appeared. That's also definitely something to be proud of. And you actually started Lisk pretty young, so almost 24, not even 24. So what's the biggest advice that you have for young people that want to start out? Of course, in blockchain, but also in general as a startup founder.
As an entrepreneur. So yeah, I just turned 24. When I had the idea with Oliver to start Lisk, I was 23, 29 today, soon 30. So, like, my piece of advice to everyone who just wants to become an entrepreneur is to just start and start early. Because as the earlier you start, the more risk you can take. That means the more risk you can take, the more successful you can be. If you fail, it doesn't matter, you still have time because you're young. I started doing like these projects and so on with like 13, 14. A lot failed, some were successes, but the most important thing always was I learned a lot from each project. So start early, fail often, fail hard, learn a lot, but just get your ass moving, essentially, you know. So many people always, oh, is it the right idea? Should I start? I will maybe not make some money during that time. Yeah, but you will never become an entrepreneur if you don't take that risk. The risk is significant, and the older you get, the higher the risk will be. Suddenly you have a boyfriend or husband, a kid, family to take care of. You have like your fixed costs got higher because you started earning money. So you got a car, got a nice apartment, got a certain quality of life. But when you're super young, you don't have all that. So you can just take any money you made, any money you earn into your startup and just build the thing. So that's my advice. Just start and start as fast as possible, as early as possible. For someone in the blockchain field, I think it's tricky now to start in the blockchain field in general, because by now the complexity went up. Like a few years ago, you started a small thing and was already like, wow. Now you have to give so much more to attract the same wow factor. Like starting a whole blockchain application platform that requires significant investment, expertise, a big team, and so on from the get-go already. But my advice would be, in terms of blockchain, analyze which use cases work. And I don't mean like automobile, supply chain, whatever use cases. I mean, go to these websites like debt.com, DebtRadar, and so on, and see, okay, which blockchain apps really work, like an NFT marketplace, collectible game, like a DEX, lending platforms, tokenization platforms, like all these use cases which really work and which really have already users today. And then I would check out, okay, which platform doesn't have that yet. And of course, it's Lisk. So then I would start checking out Lisk as a developer and start building with it. Participate in hackathons, earn like $10,000 or so in prizes, apply for the grant program, earn over $60,000 with certain milestones. So that's how I would start, because it's very easy cherry picking at this point of time still. We have accepted a few submissions to the grant program already, which are great additions to our ecosystem. Really looking forward to them becoming and growing bigger. But there's still so many cherries left to pick. It's so easy. So if you're a developer, a good one, just start getting involved. Use the Lisk SDK, which one, or the most easy SDK in the whole blockchain space, in my opinion. Start experimenting, see which use case you still want to fill, and then fill it, apply, get money from us for free, and start building, making your startup happen. I think that's quite easy still. If you compare it to now starting something, what I also think is interesting outside of blockchain, like in the field of AI, robotics, asteroid mining, space, whatever it is, this requires double PhDs partially already, and blockchain still doesn't do that right now. And with this, I think it became that easy in terms of access, in terms of usability of the SDK, but also just to get some funding in place to start. And that would be my advice. So start early and start with Lisk.
Yeah, I think being young means also having the courage, right, to try and also adapting. It's much easier to different challenges that come.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the grant program is something that people should look into, especially if they have some development experience. Okay, so how did the professional journey of you being a business owner influence your personal growth? Like, you also mentioned, I think, previously.
Yeah, just keep going.
You mentioned previously at the AMA on Wednesday that you learned a lot, and you really liked the fact that you had the chance to learn over those years. So we would like to know how this professional journey actually influenced your personal growth.
Yeah, I think personally you grow the best when you're being challenged and put under pressure. I was making the joke before that Lisk is a gem, and gem like a diamond, well, starts to exist under pressure only over millions of years. But I think as an entrepreneur, it goes much quicker. Like the more pressure you have in your life and the more challenges you face, you need to solve, the faster you grow up, the more mature you become, and the better as a human being you become as well, I think. And one thing, for example, is traveling. Traveling accelerates that as well. But I think having a business accelerates it by many, many times. Like you said, it feels like 20 years already, but it's not. But it's actually the experience of 20 years. That's why it feels like 20 years, but made in like 4 years or something. So I would say, yeah, having a business like that really forced me to grow on all aspects. Not only like my presentation skills or not being nervous anymore in front of camera, but also being good in telling stories at the dinner table, being outward going at networking events or other parties, not this one, knowing what matters in life as well. I think that's a big problem many entrepreneurs who have success early on face, but somehow I think also with the maturity of the team and Oliver, it forced me to grow up quickly. So not just partying and having fun, but actually like knowing what I want and taking these big topics in life, into account and start answering them and just start solving them. Only because you have money suddenly doesn't mean you can just like party every weekend and don't work anymore. I feel like sick if I don't work. Like I see it every time. Now with COVID-19, I'm traveling. I was in LA, I was like in Indonesia and so on. And whenever there was a period of time where at the end of the week, I thought, okay, I didn't give my all. I felt really bad, and always then got much better when, for example, I came back to Berlin and went to the office every day, and this rhythm established itself again. So this is very important, and from a personal growth perspective, this having this business really kept me in line and forced me to just know what I want in life, and I want to make an impact. And want to keep pushing innovation forward, well, especially in blockchain, but in all technologies. And that just forced me to grow up, and to focus on what matters. So like what I said before, having a business accelerates personal growth by 1,000-fold, like really.
It's also the people you meet on the way. So it's like not only the team, but also you've traveled so much to conferences, for example. So I think it's definitely this helps all the experience sharing. The experiences you had with them also as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think also the people I hang out with changed from very nice and humble, but not successful people to very nice and humble, successful people. Sometimes big musicians, other times big entrepreneurs or corporate managers. I call all of these my friends by now. And well, they helped me find myself as well because they went through the same thing or are going through the same thing, and I can help them. And I think all that also elevates your personality quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think, as I also told you, people still think you are down to earth because it's just yeah, the way you are, and I think this is very valuable to not change immediately once you are successful.
Yeah, what I learned there was also you have to always keep the ratio in mind. Like someone can wear an expensive watch but still be down to earth. It always depends. You can be rich but poor as well. If you have a lot of money, like you earn every month 100,000, but you spend 150,000 every month, yeah, you might be rich but you're poor. So I think it's all perspective. You can drive a nice car but still be down to earth. It's always a matter of how you see things, how you behave, and how you treat your money. You don't throw it out of the window, of course, but you can, of course, make use of it to upgrade your lifestyle. But then it doesn't make sense that someone upgrades their lifestyle while they just barely they really don't have the money to do that, for example, and then they do it because they want to show off. That's a problem. And well, I have a Tesla. I don't do it to show off. It's a nice car. It drives amazingly well. It's a tech car. I studied electrical engineering. Just nice to have, and I can pay it, so I got it. So that's, I think, also an important difference, and staying down to earth.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for everyone in the community. Okay, so today I think, yeah, it's for everyone a day that we celebrate. But also I think it's important, or it's a great opportunity for you as well to look back at, yeah, of course, the high point, but also the lower ones. Is there anything that you would now do differently if you look back?
Nearly everything. I think I said this once. I would probably not launch the network on the 24th of May 2016. I would have just waited, deleted everything, hired researchers and developers only, researched everything from scratch, writing the code with everything in mind, with interpret everything, and just then release it once everything is ready. That's what I would do. Do the proper research first. Don't take any bad code from Crypty. That was a mess. Just write it from scratch with the proper, development, um, uh, strategies in place, and then just release it when it's ready. That's what I would make different. Don't launch it. Spend less money overall, and do less marketing when you don't have a product.
Yeah, but I think you would definitely learn something out of it for sure, and you adapted on the way, and saw the need of definitely having a research team.
Yeah, and I mean, now I would do things very differently. I learned a lot, so the next startup I'm going to create will be different, and we are working on a blockchain application, so the whole development there will be quite different to Lisk, for example. It will be research-led, development first, and very little marketing, very little fancy websites, and only once it's ready, we basically push start.
Yeah, that's good learning, definitely. Okay, something a bit more personal. So now, obviously, we all know the COVID-19 restrictions and the current situation that affected everyone, also from the event point of view. But how did your daily routine change in the past months? Or also not only because of the restrictions, but also because of the remote work. And you also said you traveled quite a lot.
Yeah.
Came in the office. We all felt when you were in the office.
So, when I'm in Berlin, if I'm in Berlin, I go to the office, but I made use of this remote work. We changed it now. Everyone's remote, so why not me as well? I traveled quite a bit, went to Indonesia, went to America, did some weekend trips, took 1 or 2 days off here and there to experience, for example, Rome as an anniversary with my girlfriend and so on. So that these kind of things. And it's bad for your daily schedule, because in America I woke up in the middle of the night every day. It was tough, but of course I had to, because, well, I have the team here in Berlin and I don't want to disappoint anyone. Had to really give my all and stay in line and being very strict with myself. But it's tough, to travel the world. Everyone thinks like I'm laying at the beach and enjoying myself. Well, I do if I don't work, but if not, then I wake up at 3 a.m. and join the meetings, and work the rest of the day by myself in a WeWork somewhere in LA and so on. So principally my schedule changed when I'm not in Berlin. I'm somewhere else and working there, and then enjoying the change of surrounding. While here in Berlin, nothing changed for me. I come in to the office early morning. We had lunch together because Monica is always here in the office as well. And then, go home in the evening and enjoy the evening, go for dinner or whatever. Like whenever I was in Berlin, everything was open. There was never a lockdown. I was never in a lockdown. I always saw it coming and just went somewhere to not be in a lockdown, because it doesn't make sense to be locked away. So I always had a good time the entire pandemic. So that wasn't an issue for me. So I lived a normal life, my nice work during the day or sometimes during the night, and in the evening time went for dinner or meeting some friends.
Yeah, I still remember the days when you were joining the meeting in the middle of the night, and felt also hard, super hard. But I was impressed. I cannot even talk if I don't have a coffee in the morning, and that's at 9.
I started drinking coffee again, right? This year. I didn't drink for the entire last year. No soft drinks, like no cola or whatever, no coffee, nothing. Complete detox. But then, like, being there, waking up at 3 a.m., I had to start drinking a bit of coffee again, but I limited quite a bit. But it was needed there, definitely. I'll quickly check the stream because we don't have too much time. 10 more minutes.
Okay.
But we still have to say goodbye and delay the celebration.
Okay, then one more question. So what is coming next for you now after the successful mainnet migration and of course after this event? So what would be your main focus from now on, from Monday? Tomorrow you can relax.
Yeah, so I bought this island and building a resort now.
You're coming.
The game is on now. So the game is on. Version 3 is on the mainnet. That means we now all benefit from these amazing additions to the protocol. And research for Lisk interoperability is done. They're just wrapping up the libs because they need to do some terminology changes, see if everything is aligned and so on. Development already implements it. So that's the game is on. Lisk interoperability is the next thing. We said before, we now in 2 weeks or so start preparing Lisk.js for next year, but also start preparing the end of year event, Lisk updates, maybe a different name. So the game is on in just continuing our journey, because the platform is still not live, it's still not launched. Blockchain applications can become a reality, but not as sidechains. And that's our vision, to build a blockchain application platform which can satisfy every use case with blockchain technology and even bring innovation to the whole industry. And there we still have a long way to go. And that's where all our marketing efforts shift towards letting people build production-ready applications now. They can launch them without interoperability and edit later. That's not an issue, but we need to expand our ecosystem. And that's our focus now. How can we expand our ecosystem? There will be some nice announcements coming in the next 1 or 2 weeks, also about my future responsibilities. And essentially, I can say I'm going to focus on how we can position Lisk strategically so that we attract more developers which build blockchain applications, so that we are becoming one of the biggest blockchain application platforms in this industry, and keep pushing innovation forward.
Super excited to also do marketing for all these ideas that you said.
Yeah.
And also a nice way to end the chit chat.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the other questions we will ask you at the next AMA, which will also probably be on YouTube as well.
And quite soon, right?
Quite soon, yes. Yeah, so that was it. Those were the questions. Thank you for answering.
Thank you as well.